Hello everyone, here is Jana Siriščević, a student of art on Art Academy on Conservation and Restoration of Stone and Split. I'm here with my colleagues Luciana, Gugić, Dominika, Bilač and Rina Dubravec. We were working on a topic of the Parish Church of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary last year and just recently, and that will be the topic of this presentation. So the church is located in the small town Sutivan on the island of Brač, very near to Split. So the Church of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary is from the 16th century. It is located on the north part of the Sutivan town. The church is located very near to the sea, and that is the main problem. The second problem is that it's placed right on the ground, so the most of the moisture and humidity and the soluble salts and dirt are coming from the north side and from the inside of the ground and are causing the damage on the stone inside of the church. So the main and the biggest altar is placed on the east side of the church in the apse. The rest of the altars are placed on the north side. I mean, the three are on the north side and the three are on the south side. So the first is the main altar of the Assumption of the Mary. It is placed on the east side of the church inside the apse. In 2020, architectural elements of the upper part, as you can see, of the altar were partially cleaned from soot and other types of dirt. However, most of the damage is present in the lower region, generally on the sides. The heaviest damage is visible on the limestone parts caused by the reaction of soluble salts, which resulted in shedding, flaking, and mechanical damage to the limestone, as you can see on these two pictures. There was also damage to the marble panel, which resulted in it breaking off from the hole. Residues of the silicone that was applied to solidify the surface were found at the face of Mensa in the area of the marble marquetry, as you can see on this picture. Is the altar of Heart of Jesus. It is located on the south wall of the church. At first glance, it was in a relatively good condition, but after closer and more detailed examination, different types of damage came to light. The most serious damage is in the joints area of the upper mensa profile, was caused by the corrosion of the iron wedges and resulted in separation in the span of more than 2 centimeters. It is this picture right here. Significant damage visible on the lower part, more precisely on the sides of the marble altar, these here, was caused by the reaction of salts and moisture. Besides that, missing parts of the marquetry are noticeable on the face and under the mensa. At the top of the altar, on the right side, the angel is missing a wing, which is the case in most of the altars. Many wax stains from candles are present on the bases of pillars, like this picture, the remnants of animal glue used for sticking separated parts, and the most noticeable is soot, which covered all the limestone and the marble and darkened the whole altar. So the next altar is the altar of the Holy Cross on the north wall, with parts that are obviously not original. Tabernacle is not an original element of this altar, so the upper profile of the predella is elevated to fit it. Placed on the inserted marble stair, made of Verona Rosso, with its edges cut to fit into the position, it is mounted with a cement mortar. All 4 pillars' bases are covered with plaster to be more stable because they have begun to deform and detach from the surface, as you can see on this picture. The presence of salts and moisture caused a lot of damage on the lower side parts of limestone, as you can see in this picture right here. So the next is the altar of Our Lady of the Rosary, placed on the north wall in the middle, right next to the altar of Holy Cross. On this altar, on the half column, one part broke off from the left side of the altar because of the iron wedges corrosion. Besides that, a broken element of the profile is on the right side, right here, below the pillar bases. The dirt is a mixture of soot and wax leftovers. So the next one is the altar of Saint Anthony, placed on the north wall of the church. The biggest problem of Saint Anthony's altar is a crack in the attic, which has caused the destabilization of architectural elements above the altarpiece. It is this element right here. It is assumed that the cracking of element is caused by the corrosion of iron, which is found in the inside of the structure for joining blocks, and causes detachment and destabilization of altar, as you can see right here. On some parts of the altar where the detachments and mechanical damage happen, plaster fillings are visible. A surface of the decorative elements of the attic is damaged too, probably because the dust that enters through the window and contains sea salt. A tabernacle below the altarpiece was mounted later and is not the original part of the altar. The next one is the altar of Saint Spiridon. On the altar of Holy Spiridon, missing parts are noticeable right away. In the predella area, the left part of the marble panel is missing. Just below, a molding is superficially eroded and is shedding because of the impact of moisture and salts. On the top side of the mensa, 4 iron wedges corroded and expanded the stone and caused significant damage to limestone. Made of Verona Rosso, marble stairs below the altar are also damaged in the lower parts of its sides. The next altar is the altar of the Great Lady, placed on the south wall in the middle. There is a wide separation at the top step, filled with cement mortar. The mortar is cracked and wide open, which allows moisture and salts to access the inside of the marble. Because of that, molding of the mensa is noticeably degraded, which has resulted in scattering and deformation, as you can see here. The same problem of previous altar, the separation of mensa from its face because of corrosion of iron wedges and expansion of stone fragments, is present here too. In the middle of predella, the position of the missing medallion can be seen, which was placed above the subsequently inserted marble panel and visibly shortened because of inadequate dimensions, telling us that it wasn't its original purpose, this right here. On decorative marble parts, defects are noticeable on the lower right volute and on the marquetry on the left side. On the top of the altar, Attica, there were 4 angels, of which only one wing remained, the rest of them removed and possibly preserved in the church. And here, iron wedges are visible in the places where they were attached. There are also several isolated damages of the marble and limestone caused by salt and moisture on both sides of the altar. Also, a large amount of soot and wax is present, as is generally expected on all altars. Here is a picture of all the marbles that were used in the church. They were mostly used on the pillars, in the ornaments, marquetry, and so on. Also, we have here the different types of limestone that were used. The 3 of them, like Veselje Unito, Sivac Macchiato, and Veselje Fiorito, are from the same island of Brač, from the place called Pučišća. So, all of the information and documentation we have now about the altars was made last year on our first trip to Sutivan. We stayed for 3 days and did the whole detailed examination of altars and have photographed and wrote down all the problems and potential solutions. Besides that, we did some cleaning tests with different cleaning methods to see which gives the best results. So, on this picture, the chemical cleaning method that was used was the ammonium carbonate solution. It was applied in a form of a pulp because it is a capital of a pillar with a difficult surface. It was left for a whole night, and after the pulp was removed, it was cleaned with a steamer, and at the end it gave great results. So on this picture, on the face of the mensa of the altar, this part was cleaned only with a steamer, but this whole lower part of the altar is much cleaner than the upper part, which is covered in soot and wax. So this gave good results, but after all we concluded that the best solution is the combination of the ammonium carbonate and steamer. So we were again on Sutivan this September this year. It was the International Summer School, and it was the cooperation with the Institute for Conservation and Restoration of the University of Applied Arts in Vienna and Department of Conservation and Restoration of the Academy of Arts in Split. So we stayed there for 10 days with our Austrian colleagues, and the altars we cleaned in that period of time was the altar of Holy Cross, which was completely cleaned, and the mensa of the altar of Heart of Jesus. The first method that was used was mechanical removal of wax stains from candles, leftovers of cement mortar, and it was done mostly with scalpels. Then again, we tried cleaning with water and sponges and brushes to see how much of dirt can be removed the easier way. So the next method was the chemical method. We were using 25% ammonium carbonate solution. It was used in two different forms, depending on the surface. So the first form that was used on flat surfaces as the bases of pillars or the face of the mensa was the method which included paper tissues. So the tissues was placed on the surface and then coated with the ammonium carbonate solution with the brush. Another way of applying the ammonium carbonate solution was with the pulp. It was mostly in the more complicated elements like the capitals of the pillars, and we also left the pulp for approximately from 1 to 3 hours. Then again, we cleaned it with the steamer after all. This is the picture that shows the cleaning of the upper part of the altar, the attica. It was cleaned again with the steamer and the ammonium carbonate, but it was a little bit more difficult than the rest of the altar, so it needed to be repeated for a few times. And also we needed to use the strong brushes and water to whiten the area. The next few pictures are showing us the results before the cleaning and after the cleaning. Here are the leftovers of the animal glue, which couldn't be removed with any chemical way, so it could be only removed with the mechanical way, and it was used the chisels and the hammer. And this is the last picture. On the right side, we have the final result of the 10-day cleaning. And as you can see, there's a big difference from the left side. The altar is much brighter, whiter, and more shiner. And all of the methods that were used gave great results at the end.